Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. Winning cures everything. It's Tuesday, April the 14th. I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And there are no major topics today. There ain't a damn thing to talk about. So we have curated some interesting college football topics for us to discuss. This show, obviously, more well-known for college football conversation. So we are going to continue that today. There's not a lot to discuss other than, I don't know, did you watch our governor's press conference?
No.
Okay. That's it.
I'll catch the highlights on Facebook.
He's an interesting character. I got to tell you this. I
know the man. I know a lot about the man, and I'm not a fan of the man. So
I love these guys that get a question and they can turn it into the question that they want it to be. Right? They don't actually answer your question. Yeah. They turn it into. So one of the questions that was brought up today was. And this was like an all-online press conference. And Michael already jumped in on Twitch. What's up, Michael? How are you? They brought it up, and they said, what about an idea of getting internet available to all kids for situations like this? And he turns it into how, any kid that's in high school taking an AP chemistry course or whatever it was, should have access to take that course, and we're going to give them access to that, and rah-rah, and it was just the most ridiculous. It didn't answer the question of providing statewide.
What about the sixth grader at home?
Yeah,
that's just trying to do their damn math homework.
Exactly. Like the ones that have no internet or have incredibly slow internet out in these rural counties. Like, you're the governor of the state. Figure out how to get them damn internet. Like, I get that it's a problem, that it's very difficult to get some of them internet. I got that.
We are friends with. We went to high school with who has grown up to become an administrator of one of those rural schools. They're not the most rural school, but he's a principal there now, and I won't blast him out on here. Love the guy and respect him to death. But he's been calling out the same thing because AT&T was in the middle of putting in fiber for all of these people in his area. And then now they're like, oh, it's not financially beneficial to us, so we're going to pull out. So here's the problem. The way Mississippi works, I don't know if other states are like this, but towns and cities allow companies to come in and bid on the rights for it. So we don't have competition. See, people say capitalism is broken, and you look at America, I'm getting political now. We don't have capitalism. We don't have capitalism. AT&T went into my buddy's town and paid them for the rights to be internet, and now they are the only internet provider in town. And so nobody else can come in.
And then they decided not to do it.
And so you just shit out of luck, baby. Go get that satellite internet, but nobody else is running wires in this town.
Have you ever?
We got the rights to the earth. How stupid is that? I hate this state. It's so stupid. I hate it, but I don't want to leave. See, I don't want to be one of these people that just says, man, this place is a shitty place to grow up. This place is a shitty place. I want to stay and try to make it better. I don't know how to do that. I'm trying so hard to figure that out.
You almost can't, because that way of thinking is so ingrained into the people that, to the majority of people that will always be able to vote in guys like who we've got.
Universally, everybody hates that idea. Universally, nobody would stand up to call it out. Yeah. Nobody. I don't know why. I've said this before when all this pandemic thing happened. This is one of those situations where I really wish I was the governor of a state right now. I don't know that I'd be great at it, but I'd be doing some shit. Okay. We're going to try some things. We're going to throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, because everything's broken right now.
Well, you can be damn sure.
Unbelievable opportunity for a state that has been 50th out of 50 states. If you don't remember how many we got, that's DFL. My entire life at everything.
Yeah. Everybody is bought and paid for. And that's the bad thing. You got to look for what corporations benefit the most from the way that things are going. And it's like that basically in every state. right? I mean, there are some here and there.
I can't speak to that. I don't know how every other state works. I'm going to tell you this. None of them are DFL. None of them have been 50th at everything.
Education, obesity, monetary,
just healthcare. Just everything.
Yeah.
Economic. We're the poorest state in the country. We're the least educated state in the country. We're the most unhealthy state in the country. And it's not close either. It's not close.
Yeah.
There was a day and a time where every now and then we'd say, thank God for South Carolina, because then they'd drop down to like 50th in education for a week or two. And then we just, nope, we're taking that back.
Absolutely. Michael,
race to the bottom.
Michael jumped in. He said, locking a politician down on anything is damn near impossible. And he said, let's start the campaign, Chris. I'd move down to Memphis. But here's the thing. We're just south of Memphis. And that's kind of the problem. Like Tennessee, they're not really 50th in anything.
No.
Mississippi, however, where we are, 50th in basically everything.
Memphis struggles, but Memphis has done a lot lately to try to turn things around and to get better. And they have
Memphis
their own problems.
Memphis is in a state that actually cares.
They're
not
trying.
that Mississippi.
They're trying. They're not great. They're not worse. They're not the best. They're not the worst at anything. But they're in the middle of the pack. We just want to be in the middle of the pack at something.
Yeah. I agree with you. Let's go ahead and jump into some of this college football stuff because, I'm here we go. Matt said politicians care about poor people every 4 years. Yeah, pretty much. The rest of the time, it's hey, what can we do for you, big time corporation that's not really going to provide us a whole lot of stuff, but it makes us look better, and you'll be able to fund my campaign efforts going forward. All right, let's talk college football. It's been a long time.
College football stuff. Some of this is random. Some of this is about as random as it gets.
Well, so we stockpiled a list of questions, and we're going to start doing this for other sports as well.
We're going to try. We're going to make it. We're going to make an attempt.
Yes, we're going to make an attempt. Now, college football, obviously, that's what we are most known for. So, obviously, I already had a bank of questions, and we're just going to roll through. And it may not even matter for this year, but these are like long term.
Well, these aren't this. The nice thing is this has enough. This virus will not affect these questions at all.
Yes. You got that right.
These are legacy-type questions.
You got that right. So the first one on the docket here, let me make sure I've got this pulled up correctly. The first one on the docket, I've got Notre Dame's ceiling. Now, here's how this goes. The question that I wrote down, Notre Dame's ceiling under Brian Kelly or another coach. What is it? Are they better off with recruiting and scheduling, staying with NBC in the era of the college football playoff, or do they need to join a conference to become a legit perennial contender? What is the over-under of Notre Dame ever landing Urban Meyer or a coach of his caliber? Now, that was a lot for one question. Basically, the question is, what is Notre Dame's ceiling as a program?
Okay.
I'll let you go ahead and take it first. Just the program itself in their current state.
I think the last 5 years we've seen their ceiling. I don't think they'll ever win another national title unless college football drastically changes something. But I believe them and Michigan, their academic, we'll never see a school with the academic standards of them, Michigan, Stanford. They can be good. Northwestern, love those guys. They can be good. They can have years where they compete for their conference or whatever, or get into the playoffs like Notre Dame has. Make it to a national title game like Notre Dame has, but they're never going to beat the big boys. They're just not, because the separation of talent is too big. And where you see the separation of talent, and this isn't a knock, it's my school too, it's LSU, baby. The separation of ACT scores is also massive.
Yes.
All right. The combined SAT of everybody on one school as opposed to another is huge. And you just can't outrun that. At some point in time, Urban Meyer can't fix this, all right? And Urban wouldn't go there and try to fix it because he knows I can't bring those dudes there. He just can't.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is an incredible football coach. I believe in him more than most people. What he did at Stanford was incredible and unique, and he's not really doing anything different here, except Ohio State is substantially better than USC was at that time.
Yes.
That's it. The only difference is his ceiling is the exact same. He still only loses 2 games a year, but instead, he was able to beat his rival there. He's not able to beat his rival here. The separation of the haves and have-nots is so much bigger today than it was 10 years ago when he was at Stanford.
Yes. Matt jumped in on YouTube.
Those academic schools can't do it anymore.
Yeah, this goes to the question about the coach and whatnot. He said, who are they going to get that's better than Kelly? He said,
Nobody.
That's like Saban. If he dips for a year or so, who is Bama going to get that's better? There's only a limited number of high-quality coaches. And then Michael jumped in, just like anything else, money drives everything. I don't think they'd ever leave NBC. I think their deal with NBC is better than what they would get from a conference, other than what the SEC has got going right now. Now, obviously, Notre Dame, this whole COVID situation is not really going to touch them so long as there is a football season, right? They've got their ACC stuff going with basketball and with the Olympic sports, et cetera. With football, they get a massive check from NBC just for their home games, just for the games that they have. They don't have to worry about anything else. They don't have to worry about the conference or whatever. They don't have to split money, none of that. Their stuff is set. I think that you're right about the ceiling of the program being, you get to the playoff every now and then, and that's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Brian, now the difference that I feel like is when you are an institution like that, you can make exceptions for insanely talented athletes if you want to.
But you can't do it enough to fill a roster. Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State don't have 4 stars on the team. Okay? They're 5 deep, 5 stars. All right?
I mean,
3 stars don't exist in their world.
They've got 4 stars and 5 stars. Very few 3 stars, but
right?
it's not all 5 stars.
They don't have this. While they can make an exception for a specific player here or there, they'll never be able to do it for an entire roster. It's Michigan's biggest problem.
Yeah.
It's Michigan's biggest problem. Michigan had a shitload of NFL 5-star dudes, but at some point in time, those guys come off the field. And somebody else comes on the field, and that guy's got a 3 or 2-star next to him. That's separation. True. That's the play that the team breaks your back.
Yeah.
You go at that cornerback. You run the ball at that linebacker, and you gash them for 30, 40 yards.
Yeah,
and there's nothing you can do about
it. Matt said Notre Dame should be happy with a top 25 team consistently and some years to get into the top 10. Yep. And I think I agree with that.
I'm okay. And here's the thing. The conference, as much as I've always wanted them to join a conference just because I think it'd be a little more fun to see them compete and build different rivalries than what they traditionally had. They play a tough schedule. It's not like they play some laxative. Hell, their schedule is a million times harder than if they would have joined the ACC. Okay, if they would have joined the ACC, that schedule would be a cakewalk compared to what they've played the last 2 to 3 years.
Yes,
all right,
agree.
But at the same time, I just don't see them being able to get over that hump. Right now, I don't foresee in the viable future for them to consistently be able to beat the Bamas, the Ohio States, the Clemsons. I think they could hang with Oklahoma. If they were ever able to get into a playoff and able to match up with Oklahoma, I don't see any reason why they couldn't. I'm not saying they'd beat them, but I think they could hang in that game.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
I think
because they've got comparable talent. Like that's the way it goes. Let's go ahead and move that into a different conversation. Let's see. Bobby James jumped in on. Oh, well, let me get through some of these questions on the chat here. Michael said their best chance is recruiting a great quarterback and some talented skill guys around him. I think it has more to do with the line of scrimmage than it does all of that.
And here's what's weird. They've put NFL dudes in offense, and they've put NFL dudes in on defense from the defensive line and offensive line. I really don't know that that's always it.
It's not always it.
Pass rush. One of the reasons Alabama is able to have and LSU this year, and in past years, Georgia, same thing. Clemson, the same thing. The most elite level, Ohio State. Those are probably the 4 best pass rushes in all of football. Auburn's in the consideration too. They have front 4 that can get to the quarterback every snap of every play without blitzing anybody. And they have world-class elite-level defensive backs and linebackers to cover everything else. While Notre Dame has put NFL dudes in from the defensive front that could get that pass rush, they don't have the secondary guys to hang with. There are no DBs coming out of Notre Dame to go in the NFL. There are a few linebackers every now and then that are that level talented. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is you got to have it at all three levels on both sides of the ball if you want to hang with those big boy teams. The separation between the okay and the great are wildly apart.
Matt jumped in on that. He said they have to come down and get some of these Southern boys. There's not many Catholics down here, though. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
Convince them to go play up north, which is something Michigan's having a hard time doing as well. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, jelly beans. And then you got to hope that they're willing to come to a private school like that.
Yeah.
Where they're going to have harder academic standards.
Yep.
This is not one of those things where you're going to take underwater baffle weaving
and still be able to,
years and not be able to read. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And listen, I'm not mocking those kids. I was those kids. All right. I went to Ole Miss. I got an education. I was in one field. I didn't do very well in that field. I just had to get a degree by any means necessary. Mama said, get a degree. I went and got a degree. I pulled up the football program, and I saw 80% of those kids was criminal justice majors. I said, I'm switching my majors tomorrow. And I'm not lying. I was in class with people that I know could not read.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all passed with C's and B's. It was not hard. Nobody gave us grades. It just wasn't that damn hard.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Okay? That class doesn't exist at Notre Dame. That degree damn sure doesn't exist. They might have a class or two for dum-dums. They don't have a degree for dum-dums.
No, not down there. Not down there. Quick question from, let's see, Bobby James on YouTube said, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada workforce missing. Is there a new scheduled opening date? Do you know any of that?
Nope. I got no idea.
I don't think they've announced anything. Yeah.
Of they were supposed to open this year.
Yeah.
Them and LA were supposed to be ready this year. I don't know if the NFL season starts on time. I don't know if either one of those stadiums are ready. Therefore, I don't have a clue where those teams are going to play. I guess LA would continue to play there.
I doubt that they would. I don't think it would matter because I don't think we're going to have fans in the stands. If we do have, matter.
You're right. It doesn't matter if we're not going to. Which you're probably right on that. If we're not going to have fans in the stands, then Oakland just needs to leave and move to LA, and they just play in UNLV Stadium.
Yeah, or to Vegas.
That's what I do anyway. By the way, I just go ahead and go because.
Well, I mean, they're already in Vegas. Yeah, they're already there. So, I mean, that would make sense just playing UNLVs.
But I have no idea, and getting information from those groups right now are probably not. It's also not anybody's priority in the NFL.
Well, no, nobody knows anything right now. Like we're all still like all of us are the same at this point. We're just waiting for somebody to tell us what to do.
That's right.
Like that's the biggest thing. Matt said, "What is the dog doing back there?" Sookie's laying on the couch. So if you see some random spider-looking, Great Dane legs, that's Sook. And then Michael said Chris is stealing the kiddos' Easter candy, like 100% jelly beans.
Yeah, no doubt. Starburst jelly beans, best candy in the world.
All right, let's jump into the next topic because you bring up an interesting thing. Okay. And Michael said College Stadium, exactly where the Raiders deserve to play. It sounded like somebody from Denver. That's, but
I'm for it though. I'm for it. Let's shit on the Raiders.
100%.
I was so excited about them going to
Vegas.
Nobody was more excited about them going to Vegas than me. I was ready to don the silver and black and add a third team to my fandom and just get shit on by everybody, and I didn't care. And then they hired John Gruden. I said, nope.
Like we're out. If it had been Jack Del Rio, Riverboat Jack. Like, let's go.
Love Jack. Where's he coaching now? He's got a DC job somewhere right now.
Man, is it Jacksonville? Is it?
No.
He was like the coach of Jacksonville. Never mind. I don't know where he's at. You look that up.
I'm talking. I'll look.
I'm gonna read this question off, and we'll go on and get into this. The question is, why have the playoff games in college football been so prone to blowouts? Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State played LSU closer than Oklahoma, yet Oklahoma would have probably smoked those teams. Does the month of prep allow a better team to exploit weaknesses easier, or is the talent gap between the top 1 and 2 teams and 3 and 4 that big? Is it coaching or is it something else?
It's Redskins, by the way.
He's with the Redskins. Okay.
He went with
And Michael just jumped in immediately and said that. So Redskins, yeah.
Ron Rivera. He went with Ron Rivera. Man, that's a really good defensive coaching staff right there, baby.
It's not bad. It's not bad. So, all
right.
College football playoff blowouts.
Blowouts.
It happens regularly. Go ahead and talk, and I will pull up the what the playoff results have been.
I think this answer is a lot simpler than it seems, which is simply you're playing a great team, and it's every eye in the world is watching. It's totally okay to keep your foot on the gas pedal the entire game. You're never pulling anybody. You're never benching anybody. LSU, you brought up LSU against Arkansas and Ole Miss and whatever. At no point in time was that game out of control. They were up 3-4 scores the entire game. And so they started laxing off defense, subbing a lot of guys in, getting younger guys reps. On the defensive side of the ball, offense, they pretty much kept all the guys in there and kept running and gunning. But they just kind of backed off defensively. Don't let anybody get hurt. Don't do anything crazy.
Yeah.
They're not within 3 scores, so why do we care? And it became this thing. I never thought for the life of me that it would be the thing that people tried to see as a knock, that LSU dropped 66 on Vanderbilt or something like that, and people were like, you barely beat them. They scored 30 points against you. And I was like, we beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, beat them by 4 touchdowns.
How come we don't knock Georgia? Georgia beat them by the exact same amount we did, but Georgia only allowed them to score like 14 points. So I'm thinking, okay, that means Georgia only scored 28 points. So how come we don't knock Georgia's offense for being so bad when we're going to criticize LSU's defense for being so bad? At the end of the day, you beat the hell out of somebody. Does it really matter how you got there? And at what point in time did college football become a thing where beating somebody by 21 or 28 points is frowned upon and looked at like you didn't do anything special?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Matt jumped in. He said kids strain their cerebellum. It can be part of the preparation mentally. You get out there having fun in a new place, and you lose focus. But that still doesn't answer the question of why there are so many blowouts in the college football playoff.
Because when you get to the playoffs, you're not pulling those guys. You're not ever letting off the gas. That
right,
defense is on lock constantly.
But what I'm saying,
I promise you, if you had to beat the teams as bad as you could beat them, without question, the Ole Miss game would have looked different. The Arkansas game would have looked different. They absolutely would have found a way to stop those teams, because in the second half against 2 of the best offenses in the world last year, they got nothing. They scored nothing.
Now, Michael asked an interesting question. He said, do you think the amount of time before they play hurts or helps college kids? I think it actually, like some of them, it helps. Like, I think it helps. It hurts, obviously, with reps and whatnot. Like, if you got a gimmicky offense or whatever, I think that can hurt because, if you're not getting the reps in, if you're not playing at game speed.
If you got a gimmicky offense, it's easy to practice for because you have a month to prepare.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with the kids not being able to practice and rep it. It's the other team can shut it down.
Let me give you the results, just going back through all of this, okay? And we're just talking about semifinal games right now. We're not talking about the title game. Semifinal game 2015, Oregon 59, Florida State 20. And then you had Ohio State 42, Alabama 35. Now, that was a good game. Alabama 38, Michigan State nothing. The next year, Clemson 37, Oklahoma 17. That was a 3-touchdown beatdown. Alabama 24, Washington 7. It really wasn't that close. Clemson 31, Ohio State nothing. The next one, Georgia 54, Oklahoma 48. That was fantastic. And then Alabama 24, Clemson 6. That was also, a fairly even game, other than Alabama scored a couple of defensive touchdowns. After that, you've got Clemson 30, Notre Dame 3, Alabama 45, Oklahoma 34. Now, that one was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. It wasn't even close. The next year, this past year, Clemson 29, Ohio State 23, LSU 63, Oklahoma 28. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
63 to 28 game. That was a 28-0 game.
Yeah, that's yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, you've got 75% of the semifinal games have been 3 touchdown or more blowouts, basically. And then Michael said Oklahoma didn't deserve to be there. That's where I'm going to come in here and say the problem is. I don't think that we are getting the best 4 teams. I think we're getting the 4 teams that, quote, deserve to be there. But I don't think that Oklahoma was one of the best 4 teams last year or the year before that. Or, I don't know of an easier way to do it.
Well, you can't. You can't. I mean, without question, anybody in their right mind would tell you that Georgia was a better football team than Oklahoma. Auburn was probably a better football team than Oklahoma last year. You can't let 4 SEC teams in. You just not going to do it.
And that's the thing. I think that's what would make like a 16-team playoff better because you would
Wisconsin and Penn State were probably better than Oklahoma. I would have liked to have seen that game, by the way.
Yeah, agreed.
Like I don't know that for a fact, but I know enough to question the toughness and completeness of Oklahoma.
The best team that Oklahoma played all of last season was Baylor.
Yep.
And I don't think Baylor talent-wise stacked up against even the top 10.
Not close.
Like
the fact that Baylor was in both those games and dominating one of those games, and it took an absolute miracle for Oklahoma to come back and win is kind of is very telling of where Oklahoma was last year. And some people will say this is the reason we don't need to expand the playoffs is because we already – I don't know that we're not getting the best 4 teams in as much as the talent gap every year between the top 2 usually teams and the top 3 teams, top 4 teams. At some point in time, we have a massive drop-off in talent.
Ohio State Clemson last year was about as evenly talented as you could possibly get. It was.
I'm very proud of my Tigers. I think we'd have beat the hell out of Ohio State.
Yeah, I think LSU would have beaten everybody last year.
But I definitely think the 3 teams last year were the 3 best teams that I've seen in the college football playoffs since we've started the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would like to see that Clemson team last year and that Ohio State team last year play
the rest of the
other championship teams.
Yeah, agreed. Michael said the 4 best should be there regardless of conference. Matt said Oklahoma got people on board early with Hurts's video game numbers. That got people talking. Look, Oklahoma is going to put up –
look at who they played in those video game numbers.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to put up video game numbers every single year because their schedule is dog shit every year.
But that's not even Big 12. Hang on, that was before they got into Big 12 play. That was non-conference. They pulled in the softest teams that they could play and say, let's beat the hell out of these guys.
But even in the Big 12 –
let's go find a Pac-12 team. Where's UCLA? Let's go beat the shit out of a team that hasn't had a defensive star in 20 years. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
This is why I have a problem with college football, by the way.
And yet Oklahoma got beat at Kansas State last year. Like
you got 130 teams, which means you've got 50 feet of crap somewhere in here everywhere you look.
Yes.
All right. Every week we've got 130 teams, and we might get 3 good football games to watch every Saturday.
Yeah.
That's my problem with college football.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Matt jumped in. Yeah, people talked about Hurts numbers and averages, but they'd never mentioned that they beat the University of Montana School for Blind Women. Like, yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like they played Houston. Houston had 0 defense last year, and he put up 500 yards passing and 100 whatever it was. It was crazy numbers. I think that the issue is that we are not getting the best 4 teams every year, and everybody wants to talk about it, but they say it's the 4 most deserving. Because, they typically want conference champions in there. They want, obviously you deserve a seat at the table if you win your championship, if you win your conference. I don't think that you necessarily deserve a seat at the table if you win your conference. I think it should be the best 4 teams, but how are you going to determine that?
That's the problem. When nobody plays anywhere close to an equal schedule, you can't determine that.
Right, which is why a 16-team playoff. Dude, you remember initially I was the one saying,
nope,
it needs to be 4.
I know.
And then I was saying, maybe if we do 6. Like 6 would be fine, but no conference champions.
And then I thought one at 16.
And then I thought 8, 8 would be good because then you got 2 wild cards. But maybe 2 wild cards is not enough. No. Because I think there were multiple top 10 teams that would have beaten Oklahoma last year.
Yep.
And
here's the thing. people always say, but really, what are their chances of winning the championship? When you have a tournament that big, you're not necessarily just trying to find the number one spot.
Yeah.
We're trying to find who's going to finish fifth. What if we had the top 4 teams all finish SEC teams? Or be a great opportunity for the Big Ten to step up and say, maybe those guys from the South really aren't that great. And what if Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin all finished, in the top 7 of the 5, schools or whatever, 5 of the 7 schools. Like, you would get all those schools in if you get 16. You're all coming.
Yeah, no, you're right. Michael said, if Oklahoma, Texas, or any other Power 5 team want to complain, play Texas A&M schedule from last year and make it through that. Yep. Yeah, their schedule last year was ridiculous. Now, their schedule this coming season, like if any team wanted to, if any team was going to play a schedule or wanted to make sure that the 2020 season happened, it would be Texas A&M.
Yep.
They've got 10 games that they should be favored by more than a touchdown in for the beginning of the season, and then they've got Alabama and LSU to close.
They're going to have to beat Alabama, LSU, and Auburn.
Yes.
That's it. That's the list.
That's it. That's the whole list. And so
that's it. They win those 3 games, they're going to Atlanta, and I think they're going to play. If we had a normal season, I told you this before, I was ready to bet them to win the national title, to make the playoffs, to win the SEC. I have all these bets in my head. I know I'm going to get great odds because people are going to load up on LSU, Alabama, and Auburn like they do every year. People are going to load up on Georgia on the SEC every year. And I'm telling you, I think Jimbo Fisher is doing something special there. I think he's building something there. He's getting it to where he wants it to be, and the schedule works out great.
Hey, babe. Let him just run in here. Well, he is fired up. Do you hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. Hey, just let him run in here. It's fine. Oh, it's not. She said it's not that.
Oh, he pissed off.
Oh, he's mad about something else. Well,
no,
he is. Off. He woke up from his nap and he is feisty. Whoo, Lord. Jim John said, if Jimbo Fisher doesn't win 10 games this year, I will question his competency.
But he will. That's the thing. He's going to.
Yeah. I mean, depending on whether or not everything goes the way it's supposed to, obviously, yeah. Michael said, just like Notre Dame thing, it's about money and ratings. That's the most frustrating part of college football. And then Michael said, I don't trust Mond. I like
But here's the
Mond.
thing. I don't know that Mond's going to be his quarterback all year. If Mond doesn't cut it, do you think Jimbo won't cut that fool? He will pull him and put somebody else in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been there for 3 years. I promise you he's got another quarterback on the roster.
Yeah.
I assure you of that.
No, I think you're exactly right.
It's not a Les Miles situation, okay?
No, you're 100% right on that. We have gone 33 minutes, and my fence guy is pulling up here in just a minute, so I'm gonna have to run. We are going to have to.
Let's just close it.
Let's close it. We'll talk about the first to win the national title from our group of teams here in the next little bit. Here, you want to come here? You want to close out with me? Here, come here.
Nope. He's all pissed off.
He said
don't
no.
put him on camera while he's pissed off.
I don't know what he's. Well, he's
There
just.
you go. Just close the damn
he's
show.
just running about like I don't know what's going on with him, man. He is fired up.
Bye, guys. Thank y'all.
All right. Go to winningcureseverything.com. We appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the show. Share the show out with your buddies. Bobby James said, thanks, y'all. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that jumped into the chat. We appreciate you guys. You have been wonderful, of course. I'm going to go tend to the boy and then tend to the fence. And I'll explain how all that goes tomorrow. So I'll let you go. Chris, it's been a lot of fun. We'll do this again tomorrow. Sound good? Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.